Welcome back. This is a little overview of Unreal Engine, what to expect when you're downloading from the launcher to the actual engine to looking at the FAB store, seeing what you have for samples in the library. And 5.6 has some new templates, so let's take a quick peek at, if you're new, you should really start off first as getting an account. So just go Epic Games and do an account. There you go. And so sign into your Epic Games account. I already have mine logged in, so just click on that and make a profile. It's free. So that's kind of going through what the account looks like. I have my personal account here, so I won't go into that from that dialog window. But after you make your account, I would do a search for hardware and software specifications. That'll take you here to the community site. Let me sign in here. This should be automatic. So using your other account, so mine's the Dire DM, Dire Dungeon Master in the development community. And so they're doing a pretty good job, the dev community, the last year or so. They've stuck with it. They're not changing. They've changed it so much over the years. They kept building a strong community and then deleting it and making a new one. So hopefully this one sticks for a while. But you want to make sure you have some good RAM. A lot of you are going to have older computers with maybe only 8 or 16 gigabytes of memory. That'd probably be the first thing I would upgrade if you can. This is the recommended hardware. Here's the minimum hardware. So you want at least Windows 10, DirectX 10. I'm not going to cover Mac users. Kind of, you guys can figure that out separately. Performance notes, RAM. Let's see. Well, let's just stick to the recommended one. So 8 gigabyte graphics card if you can. 32 gigabytes of RAM, something you can upgrade in your laptops for most computers if possible. So if you're not meeting these specifications, you might need to get another computer or look into doing something with whatever school you're using or dial in. So check your specifications. Make sure you have enough space as well. Does this list the space? It should. No, of course not. But I think you want at least 50 to 100 gigabytes of free space so if you're downloading projects, you don't crash your computer. Once you've gone and checked your specifications, make sure you have the right amount of RAM, the right amount of graphics RAM, and a decent processor, 2.5 gigabytes or higher. And like I said, about 100 gigabytes would be safe. Get an external card if you need to. Let's see. Yeah, it's really strange they took out the size. Should be there. Okay, and then the next thing you want to search for is Epic Game Installer. So that's going to be here, so epicgames.com. So I'll just go to a search here. So go Epic Games Launcher, download, and that takes us to download Epic Game Launcher. And that's actually this page, which actually highlights the Epic Games Store, which kind of is something alternative to Steam. So that's kind of incorrect, really. What you really want to click on is this download here. It should say Epic Game Launcher. They're kind of hiding it to force traffic to their actual game store. So make sure you click this one, the top right corner. That'll open up this window, and I have the Epic Game Installer right now. It's currently 18.8.1, and then you'll install that, and that'll actually bring up this window. So once you get that, you'll see the Epic Game Launcher here. Once you open up the Epic Game Launcher, you'll see on the left-hand side, you have Store, Library, Unreal Engine. These are the games you get from the stores that are free. There's quite a few. There's pretty good ones. I think it's worth getting if you have the time. There's some good ones like Limbo and Dark, Dragon Age Inquisition, Control, Among Us, Ark. But you really want to make sure you have lots of space if you're going to do that. So the one you really want to go to is the Unreal Engine here, and then News. If you want to look at 3D side scroller, I would check out the new Parrot game sample. It's pretty cool. And there's other examples. You can see State of Unreal, featured FAB content. What's the newest in the latest engine? New Stackable. Oh, they did do Cog World. Look at that. I had a sample that was doing something like that. So I would check out the new Stackable as well. So if you click on one of these, it should open up a website that goes to the developer page or within the FAB source. This is pretty cool. Right here, so Stackable Puzzle platformer sample game. So it has a lot more functionality built into it now, which is kind of nice. The other one here, you'll have samples. This will be direct project sample downloads or content you can put into your project. So here's the mutable sample for doing customizable metahuman and garments and slots and equipment. Game animation sample, electric dream sample. I think that one's like 100 gigabytes. Be careful. Check the size, check the notes with any of these if there's documentation handy. And as you scroll down, you can see there's some older ones. There's the old game sample, Project Titan, Crop Out sample, Lyra, and Stackobot. These are in the Valley of the Ancient sample that we launched GDC a couple years ago. So that's the samples. Inside FAB is where you're going to look at the, this will actually take you to a separate site now. It used to be part of it. And that goes into here, to the FAB store, which is now all purely browser-based. It used to be part of the Epic Game Launcher itself. So now we're getting used to this. They've made some improvements to it, so you can get in here and you can see Discover. You can see what the free samples are each month. They do have Unity and MetaHuman separate from Unreal Engine, Fortnite separately. Here's the product types. It's a good example of what you might think you need for your game. Brushes, decals, audio, animations, 3D, different plugins. I'd probably go to plugins tools, something like here, and type in like Substance, right? Get the latest Substance plugin, Substance 3D for Unreal Engine, UE Bridge, free trial for Blender. See what kind of plugins are. Be careful on a team with plugins because you do want to make sure they're in all of the same project settings, that everyone's got the same plugins. So I think for this one, Substance 3D, that's actually kind of a sample. I don't want to get stuck looking at this at the moment though, so let me keep going here. Back over to the Epic Game Launcher. Here's the library. So this is where you're going to actually install the latest version. So you should be, I have 5.6.1 installed currently. I always go to the latest version, and then after a couple months, once I'm sure everything's clean, I'll update all my examples. If I have an older example though, like say I have this galleries example, it's a 5.5, and say we give you a sample in class and it hasn't been saved at the latest version yet. If I open this, it's going to give this which version I want to open with. And when I open an older version with a newer game engine, it's going to ask you to convert in place or make a copy. And so I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with that window, what to do when you get to that window. Okay, strangely enough, it did not ask me to convert in place. So to find another example of that. But yeah, if you're opening like a 5.5 in a 5.6, usually when you open it, you'll pick the, whatever the latest version, and a convert in place window will open up. So I'll have to come back to that and see what's going on. But let's go up here and I can launch it through this. It's a lot of redundancy in the UI. I can launch it up here. I can launch it from here. And once you launch it, you can either open up a blank template or you can open up an existing project. So here's the project templates that you can open. You can also go down here to browse and open up something you already have. So games, right here's where we're going to spend most of our time. You can look at the film examples, architecture, automotive, and simulation on your own time if you want to take a peek at some of those other options that are available. So you'll notice some of the options here on the templates. The one that you have highlighted here, let me make sure this is kind of clear for everything. So inside a blank template, you'll see Blueprint or C++, target platform, and quality preset. If I go to first person, it adds a variant, and third person, top down, handheld, VR, and what is that one doing here? And vehicle. Okay, so leave it on Blueprint unless you're like a serious CS, C++ programmer. I would leave it on Blueprint for all of these. And you'll notice that you have this new variant pull down, which is actually something I didn't notice. Maybe it's been there before. But you'll see none arena shooter, survival horror for first person, or all. Under third person here, you have none combat platforming side scroller, or all. Top down, none strategy twin stick, and all. So this is really interesting to find out like how each of these different things work. VR is always kind of the stunted kind of side project that's updated, but we'll see what that one has. And under vehicles, you have time trial, off-road, or all. So for first person or third, I'm going to go third person here and take a look at this. I'm going to go side scroller. And you want to always name it. You don't want a bunch of projects named my project because that's the default. You also want to always know where your path is. So if I click on this, you'll see my paths here is on my C user profile documents, Unreal, which I don't like. So I have a external SSD hard drive, so I keep my files from overloading. And I'll go Unreal Engine projects. So I'll pick that folder, select that folder, and then name it. And we'll name this third person template, and we'll do side scroll, side scroll. So everything must be alpha characters, so no numbers. So I always forget that. So third. And it's a good rule of thumb, just when you're naming stuff, don't use any special characters. Don't use plus signs, ampersand, dashes, slashes. All of that means something in code. So even in this one, even space, underscore, or numbers are not allowed. It's just all letters only with no spaces. So third person template side scroll. And let's see, project must be no more than 20 characters. Okay, so let's see if I didn't even think I had 20. I just I did. Look at that. All right, so maybe keep it as I'm gonna naming this a little extra turd third person, and then maybe template side scroll. There we go. So I know where it is. I know the location, and I name my project something that's not going to give me errors. Keep it under 20, like I'd say like 15s in case you need to add iterations like a 01 or 02 to a project or something like that. But that's going to create the project for us, and it's going to open it up. Now, when it does that, it actually, a lot of times it likes to close the Epic Game Launcher. So that time it did not. So that's kind of nice. So we'll see what happens here when it opens up. There we go. There's our third person side scroll platformer. So I can go straight in there and hit play. And it says there's a platform, but I don't really notice level third person. Hit escape from there. And once you have the project started, you can go in here and go file, open level, Control O. And inside of this, you should see, and everything's inside content. So you want to make sure everything's kept inside the content folder. And I can look at characters, inputs, level prototyping, third person, variant side scroller. I still don't see, I'm looking for a folder named maps. So there it is. So the map is actually kept inside the variant side scroller as a level, which is going to usually be a .u map. Here's animations, here's blueprints and input. So I'm kind of getting to know this for the first time. So that's kind of cool. So you have green, so color coding, having your measurable grid for spacing, and gray boxing or white boxing, so you know what your jump heights are and what your jump distances are. So if I go down here and hit the space bar, there's a ramp. We try and always white box with ramps and not stairs. You want to make sure your stair steps are done right. Well, it's really easy to mess up the rise versus run on your step ratio. So you see it's right at the just above the head height here. So if I go and I click and I jump, I get a little hang time there, but it's only going about halfway. I think on top of that green, you can see right here how high it gets. Pretty close. So it goes up on the ledge. So it's a two-tier system. So I can jump from here and then up here again. And I don't see any other jump heights, but what I can do is I can grab this cylinder space and I can hit the space bar. So it's going to do up here a select, right there, select, move, rotate, scale, right? And I can actually scale down here and we can see what our actual jump heights are in the default. So spacebar, click, jump, and looks like I just made it. And if I stand next to it and jump, you see I can go up a little bit higher. So I'll grab that. And this is just a precursor to the actual white boxing demo I have in another video. But I just wanted to show you how this is coming along so far. Yeah, just barely. That last little bit's not going to do it. So good to know how the defaults are set on the snaps for scaling and for the movement and for the selection and for the rotate. So all those are right there. F on the keyboard always centers it up. So let's go ahead and take a peek at some of the other. Okay, so I'm back in Epic's Game Launcher, and this time I'm going to launch the game. I'll launch it from up here, make sure it does the same thing. You can also, if I pin it to my spacebar, you can also right-click and launch it from here. So there's three ways to do it. But either way you do it, you should be getting to this browser here. And now I can go to games, make sure I have the pathway for where it's going correct. So I have my D external SSD drive to Unreal Projects 2025, and I'll name this one first person template and all. And then I'll go up here to the, oh, whoops, I'm on the blank. First person, there we go. Template all. Still kept my name that I had started typing in TAC. I keep the quality to maximum, scalable, desktop, kept it on Blueprint. Project defaults, all good. Um, but right here under variant, I have none, arena shooter, survival horror. I could do all, but you could also check these out individually and check out the documentation. This is all brand new, so see if there's any YouTube videos maybe that cover what the differences and nuances are on these variant new templates for the first person and third person. Okay, so here we are in the first person template, and you'll see most all the levels should have this here, a player start controller with a capsule, a directional light, a sky atmosphere, a skylight, and a volumetric cloud. And you can see there's like a simple sky off in the distance there. As you click on each of these, you'll notice down here is the details tab that if I go and click on the player start, you'll see I have the player start down here, and the capsule component is a little ochre colored piece here. And so you can see what's in the details tab. So down here will show you, what is the location, rotation sphere, so move, rotate, scale, right? There's a lock for axes there. You'll see there's replication. So there's some things to check out down there. I was looking to see if the horror or some of the other options were in there, but I didn't see anything right away. So whenever you're done doing something like that, if you want to start moving things around and making little samples, levels out of this kind of stuff, so I would take a block and hold down the Alt key, I can replicate it. Whoops. There we go, and move it. You see, snap should always be on. You get your snaps, and you can move these around. And I can even go in here and I start scaling and maybe making some buildings and put those maybe on the outside, something like that. So if I want to do like a quick cityscape here, very, it's a real fun way to kind of play around with the tool. Go to move, Alt, drag, scale, make it wider, bring it towards us, Alt, drag, scale, make it huge. Whoops, the other kind of huge. Up, yeah. And bring that back. There we go. So this will kind of give you a sense for, now the shadows all going one direction. Some of the things I like to play around with right away are the directional light, because it's kind of a high noon lighting, which gives you almost no detail. So there's like a little tiny shadow cast right there. So you can grab this directional light here, go to your rotate, and you can very quickly kind of get like a little sunset type lighting that's going to give you some long, fun cast shadows, right? Or you could do sunrise, comes from the other side, right? So these are things to consider when you're first starting out playing with these. But if you just hit play and run around inside, you can see I do have a mannequin model there casting a shadow, first person. I'm just using the WASD keys, WASD, W forward, S back, A left, D strafe right, space bar. And I'm using my mouse to look around. By habit, I'm using the right mouse button, but you could just move the mouse, and we can see what kind of shooting mechanics or melee might be in some of the other templates. But okay, let's look at downloading a project so everyone knows what to expect when you're doing that. Okay, so I went to the FAB.com, to the FAB store, and I went to the search bar. I just typed in Stacklebot, so it has tutorials and examples. So this should be a really good one. They just updated it for August 12th, 2025, so that is very recent. And I can add this to my library from here and make sure that we're logged in. Okay, so once I was logged in, I could view it in my library or view it in the launcher. So the library, open new tab. It's going to take me to my FAB library, resulting with StackBot. It's really a little strange. And then if I view it in launcher, it's going to open the Epic Game Launcher. So it goes back over to here. And now let's see where it is. So I'm going to go down here. These are the ones that I've opened recently on this computer. I just have everything wiped recently, so there's not a lot in there. So, but if I go stack, oh, bot, there we go. It says create project, right? And so before you do that, well, yeah, let's just go ahead and do this one. So I'm going to browse, make sure I know where it's going. I have my external SSD with my Unreal project. So I might have had an old StackObot one in there. Looks like no. So that's good. So that should work. Select that folder. The name's here, StackObot. I'm just going to put some 2.5 and doesn't like too many characters, so might be error to make that shorter in length. I just want to make sure that I know I'm not creating a bunch of garbage projects, which I tend to do because I'm teaching anyway. But yeah, let me just hit create. And there we go. So you see it's going to download it for a minute. It's pretty lightweight. They've done a good job keeping StackObot project small. So I think it's just under a gigabyte or so. But before I did that, I think it's a good idea to take a look at the StackObot project specifications. And what I was looking for earlier on the templates is what is the size of this project? Give me the project size. You got compatibility, you got the technical features, which platforms it works. There's an older StackObot sample download. They have that one preceding 5.6, which it was the first one for 5.0. But yeah, if you want to find so strange, they should always have the file project size listed front and center. I'm just missing it. But make sure you're checking the size for every step of the way, so that way you don't run out of hard drive space. So it's still opening. There it goes. So I created the project. I believe there's StackObot. Yeah, it still has the same icon, so it didn't do the new cog icon. So it's the StackObot with the little background images. So it says 5.6. That is the one that I named. So it's StackObot Summer 25. So I'm going to go ahead and double click that. Now, the first time you open a new project that has any substantial size to it, it might take it a few minutes. I keep guessing here, but I want to say it's closer to 2 gigabytes. So we'll find out once I've got it downloaded. So welcome to StackObot example, great starting point. So it's got a nice little message for you. That was actually pretty quick. You can find the main level. There you go. It's telling you where the actual maps are. So main levels in StackObot. Here's your content browser, a project browser down here. So I'm going to open that up. And it says under level. So if I go to StackObot maps, thank goodness they have a maps folder. These guys are pretty good. There we go. So there, that looks pretty cool. They have a new cog level fly, so they're allowing flight, right? Of course. So I think level StackObot is one you can start on here. So I'll start with that one, level StackObot. And you can check out the levels. And for the first part of this, you just want to get comfortable downloading projects, downloading templates, installing Unreal, of course, to start. Download some templates, download some projects, open them up, and you want to get that first 10 or 15 hours. Find some tutorials. You can follow my tutorials, or you could go exploring and look at some other tutorials on different topics. But when you first load it, it's going to take a moment. So it's going to be creating a bunch of lighting and map files, and so I want you to be ready for this on your computer. So I have a giant computer, 64 gig RAM, but the big 24 gigabyte video card. So my computer runs fast, has a big CPU. If you're on a laptop, this might take 10, 15, 20 minutes. All right, so be patient, and after you open the map, save and reopen the Unreal Engine. You might even reboot your computer one time when you're first doing this. So there it goes. Even on my big rig here, you'll see it's registering. It's going to all these menus, which are kind of new, really. There we go. It's going to be gray at first, so you're not going to see all the colors and texture maps. So it's loading down here, preparing shaders on the bottom corner. So it's looking really fun though. And so give it a moment. Let it load everything. Don't just go straight in and play right off the bat. It goes starting to create all the emitters. All the clouds are getting poofed out. That's pretty cool. I like what they did with this. And it might be slow. There's ways to slow down the game mode, like how you're going, how you're actually showing the graphics on your computer. We'll take a look at that. But I think for now, we'll leave this here. Download it, give it a shot, find some projects to download and open, and there we go. And have fun exploring Unreal Engine here for the beginning of class, or if you're following along online. All right, we'll see you in the next video.